My name's Brian Dive and I run a company called DMA Consultancy, and the DMA stands for Decision Making Accountability, and our focus is trying to build high-performing organisations by clarifying their accountability. I have worked now over 42 years in about 70 different countries around the world, in many different industries and also in the public sector. So we now have evidence that these ideas work very well across a number of different types of organisations. The purpose of the company really stems from the fact that I'm very interested in establishing what makes an interesting, motivating job for an individual. And what I found as I worked around the world was that many organisations tend to have cluttered hierarchies which then get in the way of interesting work. So our focus is trying to go into an organisation and, if you like, doing a health check and seeing if the organisation is healthy and ensuring that the work that people are doing therefore is satisfying and has purpose and meaning. So far we have worked in 20 different industries around the world, and we've also worked in a number of public sector organisations both in the UK and in the US, and I've done some work in the voluntary sector, and we've done some work in the military area as well. So what is interesting is that the principles of accountability are clearly universal, and they really apply to any organisation that exists for a purpose. Then people need to be held to account to deliver that purpose, and trying to clarify that is what we do with a number of different organisations. I have written a couple of books. The first book was The Healthy Organisation, which was published in 2002. And that was essentially the story of how work levels or levels of accountability was established in Unilever, and how we used it to replace many of the HR systems that were operating in that company. And then on the basis of that success, that's when I went out, set up my own company, and used those ideas firstly in Tesco. So the Healthy Organisation was really the story of, do the ideas work? Yes, they've worked in 100 countries in Unilever, and then they've been applied. The first major client to apply them then was Tesco. The Accountable Leader, I think, was rated one of the 30 best books of the year, because I believe it moves into a space that hasn't been covered by a lot of the leadership literature that is out there at the moment. Much of the history of the leadership literature focuses on the individual, and there's a tendency to look at the skills of the individual and try to enhance him or her in terms of what they know and what they can do, but then they often tend to put talented people into hollow or non-jobs. And so what I found was frustrating people is they were often in roles that didn't have clear accountability. And so the accountable leader is talking about situations in which you can be more confident that you've got real jobs that people find satisfying because they have purpose, they have meaning, and they then are satisfied as a result of that. And at the same time, that ensures that the organisation has the right number of jobs, not too many, and that becomes a very good basis or a platform for helping them develop their leaders throughout the organisation. And hence we talk about leaders being accountable, held to account, and in the book define what those accountabilities should be. Yes, I've written a number of articles, some in strategy and business, some in people management, for example. Recently I've written for Chrono magazine, I've written for Across the Board, various HR magazines. I'm a little reluctant to claim that a company might grow in revenue and be successful just because they've put in levels of accountability, but I also think that it is a critical component in the success of an organisation to be effectively organised and to have a good leadership development program. A good example has been Tesco, which has grown consistently over the last 10 years and has used levels of accountability, or work levels as we've referred to them there, for the practice of their reward management, for principles of organisation design in the business, and also for leadership development. So work levels have been the foundation on which they've built their competency model, for example, which enables them to identify leaders right up to the top of the business. And interestingly, they've gone into banking in the last year or so, and I've been working with them in the last 12 months trying to help them build their new bank from scratch. And that's fascinating because that's got very ambitious plans. It's going to be a rapidly growing bank, and we're helping them build what we think will be one of the most competitive structures of any bank in the UK. I think the thing that we believe makes the company successful is it's based on one very simple idea, and that is, are you doing work which adds value to a customer, to a patient, or the work of other people who are around you in the team? And that enables us to have a conceptually integrated approach to everything that is about the management of people.